Hi, in today's video, we're going to look at the cost of buying a home, and we're going to start right now. Hi, my name is David Matney with Nebraska Realty. I'm a local realtor here in Omaha, Nebraska. Now in today's video, we're going to just kind of give you a general overview of the cost to purchase a home. This is meant for educational purposes only. Obviously, I'm not a loan officer, and you'd want to speak with a qualified loan professional for your specific situation and what loan program works best for you. Okay, for our example today, let's pretend we're going to buy a $200,000 house. The first thing you're going to have as far as an expense if you're buying a home is an earnest money. Now, the earnest deposit shows that the seller that you're serious about purchasing the home. Now, you can see earnest deposits typically run anywhere from around 1% of the purchase price of the home. So you can see them anywhere on the low side of $500 or even as high as $5,000. Depends on the purchase price and depends on the situation. In some circumstances, in a seller's market where you're competing, if you have a really strong earnest deposit, it shows that you're really serious about purchasing that home. Now that money, when you write that check, that money just doesn't disappear. It gets applied to your closing costs at closing. All right, the next cost involved in purchasing a home is going to be the home inspection. Okay, the home inspection will be paid for at the time of the inspection. Now, typically what you'll see home inspectors anywhere from $400 to $600. I would just figure about $500. Now, you can also get additional inspections as well, like if it's if you'd like to do a radon test, that may cost you another $100, or if you want to do a sewer scope inspection, that'll cost you another $100. And I'll link a video to why it's important to do a sewer scope inspection up there. Okay, now the next cost involved, and a lot of folks don't figure this, is going to be closing costs. Now, typically closing costs will usually run you 3 to 4% of the purchase price of the home. Now, what's some of the costs involved? It'll be a year's worth of homeowners insurance premium. You'll need to pay a year up front. You'll have 8 months of property taxes, because in our state, property taxes are paid in 6-month increments with 2 months in reserve. So they want you to build that escrow up front. And then you'll also have title fees and lender fees. Typically you'll see closing costs run from around 3 to 4%. For our example, with a $200,000 home, we'll just say closing costs are going to run you about $6,000. All right, depending on your market, sometimes you can ask the seller to pay your closing costs. Okay, now it's going to depend on your market. In the market that we're in right now, it's a strong seller's market. So if you're going in and asking the seller to pay your closing costs, you're probably going to get beat out by other offers. Okay, now the other thing you can do is you can say, hey, Mr. Seller, let's say the listing price was $200,000. You can say, hey, Mr. Seller, here's what I'll do. I will give you $206,000, but I would like you to pay $6,000 of my closing costs. That way the seller will net full price of $200,000. Now, here's the caveat to that, and that is, let's say it's a government-backed loan like FHA or VA. Then what would have to happen is the property would have to appraise for $206,000. But here's the thing, in our market right now, you'll have a $200,000 home and you'll have bids up to $210,000, $215,000, $220,000 depending on the home. So a lot of buyers that are asking for closing costs or need closing costs are losing out. Okay, which brings up another prepaid cost that you'll have to pay for, and that is the appraisal. All right, when you borrow money from the lender is just not going to give you that money for free, and they want to make sure whatever they're lending for, it's going to be worth $200,000. So what they're going to do is they're going to hire a third-party appraiser to appraise the property, because let's say the house is only worth $180,000, and something were to happen and they get the home back, they want to make sure that they're getting back what the home is worth. Okay, so they're gonna do an appraisal. Now, here's the thing in our market. Everybody right now is either buying or they're refinancing. So you want to make sure you pay for that appraisal right away after the house goes under contract. And you want to be aware of that because some closings are being pushed back because of the amount of appraisals that are being done right now in our market. But anyway, for an appraisal, figure about $600. All right, the next expense involved is the down payment. That's going to depend on which program you elect to choose when you just talk with a lender. In some circumstances, FHA requires 3.5% down payment. Now, FHA is a government-backed loan. It's for owner-occupied properties, and it has a little bit more flexibility in terms of qualifications, and it has a low down payment. So a lot of first-time buyers who are credit challenged and maybe have a little more difficulty qualifying for conventional, they will go FHA. Now, FHA requires 3.5% down payment. So in our example, that would be $7,000. Now, conventional has a 3% program, and you can get finance. You can go 20% down. Okay, depends on your loan program, your credit, and that sort of thing. But you want to talk to your lender to see what program works best for you. All right, let's look at some of our totals right now. Okay, we have $700 in inspections. We have $600 in appraisal. We have $6,000 in closing costs, and we have a down payment of $7,000. Okay, for our example, that comes to $14,300. But remember, we wrote that earnest deposit for $1,000, and we get that back. So what we'd have to bring to closing would be $13,300 on a $200,000 property. Now, if we could negotiate the seller to pay for some of our closing costs, let's say we got the seller to pay for all of our closing costs, and let's just say for our example, that was $6,000. Then what you would need to bring to closing would be $8,300. All right, one thing to consider is having additional funds saved up. Just because you can buy a home doesn't mean you should. Many buyers fail to consider the amount of maintenance that'll be involved when purchasing a property. Also, things will happen. Okay, you will buy a home and things will break. So you want to make sure you have some money set aside in case something goes south. Okay, now in our market, some buyers are not doing a home inspection because they're competing to get these properties. Now, if you fail to do an inspection, keep in mind, if something were to go sideways after you purchase that property, you're responsible for that. And that's going to be could be a significant amount of money. So you want to have additional funds set aside. All right, if you found this video helpful, check out this video. I don't know what I'm going to be talking about, but I'm sure it's going to be interesting. And you make it a great day. And oh yeah, don't forget, subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up.